What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Scales Family Reptiles. I'm Jordan, the lady behind the camera is Amethyst, and in today's video we're going to be doing how to breed ball pythons, part 1. So in this series, we're going to be teaching you guys how we, the Scales Family Reptiles, breed ball pythons. What's so cool about the ball pythons is there's a billion different ways to do it. We had super good success last year. It was our very first season and almost every one of our females laid eggs for us. All right, so this part 1 of this series is going to be like pairing our males, stuff like that, how to prepare for everything. Part 2 is going to be when we have ovulations and eggs. And then part 3 is going to be actually hatching the babies and how we set them up after we hatch them, get them on feed, all that good stuff. Step 1, what do we have and is it ready? Let's go a little more in depth with that. So we look at the entire collection, we check our males and we females. Big key right there is make sure your males are males, make sure your females are females. Especially if you get new snakes in and you haven't bred them before, you want to make sure that you sex them. And we'll go over sexing in another video more in depth. Assuming you already have a plan for what ball pythons are going to breed to which ones, you might need to adjust your plans now. Maybe there's a male that's not ready, maybe there's a female that's not ready. Make sure that you have backup plans. Backup males are key in this hobby because sometimes males just won't go. One good way to find out if your females or males are ready is the body conditioning. So I'm going to show you a couple males and a couple females that we know are going to be ready and some we have to work on. So this girl is a big 4,500 gram female ball python. I want you to take a look at her body size. If you see her, she's almost round. She's not overweight, but she's got that mass in her. So if she was to go off feed right now because she's building follicles, she could last months without eating. So this girl is about the same length and she's actually about 3,000 grams. But if you take a look at her, she just doesn't have the same body conditioning as the last girl. She's skinny, she's kind of deflated a little bit, but that's because she laid eggs 2 months ago. So even though she's over that 1,500 gram mark that you want to start bringing females, she is not ready to breed.
So that's the mark, is the 1,500 grams?
Usually we'll start pairing our females around 1,200 grams, but by the time they first lay, they're going to be about 1,500 grams after power. You know, they're going to eat and eat and eat in the very beginning. But our females that are veterans, that have laid plenty of times before, she's well over 1,500 grams. But you can tell she's just not ready. You can see the skinniness in her.
She still looks a little flat.
So we're not going to pair her yet.
So we wouldn't feel comfortable her going months without eating.
Exactly, because once they build those follicles, once they get over a certain size, they know they can't fit a meal inside of them. So they'll just stop eating. You know, sometimes, usually ours go for like 2 months without eating, but they can go 2 to 6 months without eating. So let's take a look at males. So this male does not have to be 1,500 grams. We usually start pairing our males around 500 to 600 grams. This little dude has perfect body weight. Look at him. He's nice and thick, nice and chunky, and it's very common for males to stop eating through the entire breeding season. So it's a big key is to make sure your males are good and ready, because when they stop eating, they get too skinny, they could actually breed themselves to death. Now here's another male. He's actually bigger than the last male, but look at his body weight. He's a lot skinnier. Now, let's take a quick look real fast. See if I can get him to. See, he's got peens. He's got sperm plugs, but I wouldn't breed this male right now. I need to get him up to size because he went off food when we started breeding him. It's super important to make sure your males are eating regularly. If they're not eating regular now, when they start breeding, they're most likely going to stop eating in general. So if a male is halfway through the breeding season, then he gets too skinny, what are you going to do? Now you got to come up with a backup male, and then you have, dual sired clutches. And I just recommend if your male is not eating consistently, don't start pairing him. So next step is, when do we start pairing? Usually what we do is we wait for November. So November 1st is when we start our pairs. But if a female has laid last year and it hasn't been 6 months since the last time she laid, we'll wait that 6 months, so it could be December, January, and then we will start pairing. We want to make sure that she's had time, to get normal, to let her body get back to normal before she starts breeding again. All right, so next we're going to check for follicular growth. This is like our base. This is our base reading to see if they're growing any follicles. Good. So right away, I can see that this girl has follicles. Let's get back over here. Let's go ahead and freeze that for me. So now we're going to take our base measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit measure, distance. I'm going to go right here. It's a nice clear follicle. Here. And we're going to go all the way to the side. This is just going to give us our average follicle length. Looks like our average follicle is 12.9 millimeters. So that is perfect for the beginning of breeding. So now that we got that, we're going to measure it, we're going to record it. So I need to say on 10/31, there were 12.9 millimeter follicles. Bam, right there. Now that we got all of our follicles measured and recorded, I'm going to take a male, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to pop them, and see that sperm plug, how it's all like kind of crunchy and dirty? We want to get that out of there. But I'm going to use this. So I'm going to take the male, come to the female's cage, I'm going to put him in there, I'm going to wipe this on her. And it kind of gets that smell of the reproductive stuff in there. I'm going to go ahead and shut it. And I'm also going to mist that down real fast.
Why are you misting?
So I'm going to mist them because what it does is not only does it get kind of like her pee and her pheromones all in the air, that moisture, gets that smell in there, but it also helps with the barometric pressure. You want to like kind of simulate the stormy season, the wet season, because in the wild, that's when they're going to start breeding. So we're going to leave them in there for 3 days. No matter what, if they lock, don't lock. If they lock, then unlock. I still leave them in there for 3 days. I like to check on them, once in the morning, once at night. Don't mess with them a lot, but let's go take a look. And now they have unlocked. They're on opposite sides of the cage. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this male out. At the point where I take him out, I make sure that I mark on the tub what male was in there with her and if I witnessed the lock.
How long do they usually lock for?
I've witnessed locks from 3 to 6 hours. I've also witnessed locks for like 48 hours straight. Sometimes they'll just be locked the entire 3 days, and you have to wait an additional day to pull him out because they're still locked. Please do not, if they're locked up, if you see those tails, do not pull that male out because you could actually damage his reproductive system, especially if the female's a lot bigger and her muscles are a lot stronger than the males. All right, so now I wait 30 days. At that next 30 days is when we're supposed to be pairing males again, right? But what I want to do first is I want to check all those females and see if their follicles have changed at all. If they have any follicular growth, that's when I want to know I start pairing more. If there's a female that has not grown at all, depending on how big her follicles are, if there's none at all, I might pair one more time to see if I can stimulate that growth. But if they're at 15 millimeters and they're still at 15 millimeters that next month, I won't pair her. I want to save that male for a female that is growing follicles at that moment. Because we want to make sure that we're using the ultrasound to save our males. Instead of going to 3 females like we did last year, we want to do like 4 or 5 females this year. Now, if we don't have an ultrasound, which we didn't last year, I just pretty much paired every 30 days. So every shed cycle about. We put our male in there. If they locked or didn't lock, we waited 1 month, put our male in there, and some of them did that for about 6 months straight before our females ovulated. So our next step would be ovulation, which we don't have anything ovulating yet. And I really want to walk this through all you guys while it's happening. So it's going to be a little bit of time for part 2, but I hope you enjoyed part 1. I hope this helps you out. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to hit us up. And I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Let us know if you liked it down in the comments. And be sure to pay attention on Mutation Creations channel this upcoming Monday. We're going live with them on their podcast.